The question is on the adoption of the resolution. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. No. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Madam Speaker,
resolution is adopted.
Madam Speaker, on that I would request the yeas and nays.
Yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number have arisen. The yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote, colleagues. A 5-minute vote. Why don't we do it? On this vote, the yeas are 232, the nays are 196. The resolution is adopted without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
Mick Mulvaney has been keeping a low profile since his press briefing. Rudy Giuliani has been MIA. So the people we usually hear from or are driving a message are keeping a low profile right now. But this is exactly the profile of a man who is hard to argue with. And the smear campaigns, to me, seemed like they didn't stick. You see this guy walking in his uniform.
Let me break in here. This is MSNBC analyzing the testimony of this is Vindman. I'm sorry, Vindman, who was working in the White House, who overheard the conversation of the phone call to Ukraine between Trump and the president of Ukraine, and I don't know what, asking to get dirt on Biden. And then the implication was that then Ukraine would get, if they helped Trump get dirt on Biden, then Ukraine would get the military aid. This guy is I'm going to take another rant here. This fellow is he was in combat in Iraq. He got a Purple Heart because he was in an IED explosion. He's a Ukraine or Eastern Europe or Russia-Ukraine specialist. I assume he speaks some Russian. He was born in the Soviet Union, emigrated with his parents at age 3, and then he volunteers to military service, or he goes into the military. I don't know what more you can ask for a person. And okay, WBCK land, Trump land, you know, Donald dodged the draft, right? Bone spurs, couldn't make, oh God, he wanted to chase women. So, yeah, he was bone spur Donald. Yeah, and that was fake, that was fraudulent. He didn't have bone spurs. It's a way to get out of the draft. So this guy actually did military service, okay? And, okay, let's go back. So you can try to smear him, but boy, I don't know. I think he's pretty solid. He's real solid.
He's an immigrant who came to this country and believes in this country and served for this country, who feels that it's his civic duty to his adopted homeland to go and testify against the President of the United States. This is probably not where he saw his career leading him to this moment. Also, another thing that came out here, at least in the opening statement, is that his testimony now really brings into question the testimony of Sondland, who is a Trump appointee, a former campaign donor, who this is the third witness to come forward and sort of contradict what Sondland in his testimony told Congress.
Okay, let me interject again. Sondland was the superior to all these people. He was the European Union ambassador, appointed by Trump, a political appointment. Okay, and this guy gave a lot of money to the Trump inauguration. Okay, so that's how he gets the appointment. He gives a lot of money to the inauguration. And who knows where the inauguration money, that's another scandal. That's like scandal number 133, is where the inauguration money went. But so the Trump political appointed ambassador, European Union ambassador, probably committed perjury because all the other people that they've testified, and they've testified in secret so they can't coordinate, right? Are testifying that against his version of events. So yet another person goes down. Yet another person is caught in the muck, the Trump muck, the swamp muck.
So it's opened up not just questions about Donald Trump's conduct, but questions about whether other people involved in this investigation have possibly perjured themselves in the process.
Andy, that's exactly where I wanted to go with you. Thank you for leading me there. I think I have that. I think I can put that up. So here's what Vindman testified to, and here's where there's daylight. I think is putting it generously at this point. It's a flat-out contradiction in the view of some Democrats that have heard both of these testimonies. So here's what Vindman testified to. I stated to Ambassador Sondland that his statements were inappropriate, that the request to investigate Biden and his son had nothing to do with national security, and that such investigations were not something the NSC was going to get involved in or push. Now that account from Vindman has been corroborated by Fiona Hill and Bill Taylor's testimony. Here's the part of the Sondland testimony that's being scrutinized under the Klieg lights today. Sondland testified to this, quote, I recall no discussions with any State Department or White House official about former Vice President Biden or his son, nor do I recall taking part in any effort to encourage an investigation into the Bidens. So there have been sort of rumblings about Sondland having some exposure on perjury since last week, but I think this week it comes into focus as you see those two, one of those statements must not be true.
One of those statements must be true, and it's 3 against 1 now. And again, it's like you look at the backgrounds of the people and the characters here, and Vindman is a very person who's not political, who's a military background, who seems to be doing this out of a sense of duty, not out of a sense of protecting anyone involved. Sondland comes at this story as a Trump appointee, as a political appointee, as someone who has supported the president's campaign.
On the right.
So we see different motivations here at play, potentially.
Annie, I want to get you on the record about another sort of character in the impeachment drama that we haven't talked about much, but you and your colleagues have reported on him a good deal. He's the person in the White House counsel's office sort of detailed or assigned to dealing with matters of national security. This is from some reporting from sort of the beginning of this scandal about the CIA also reaching out to this lawyer who had the 2 alarms raised from Alexander Vindman. You guys reported this. The CIA's general counsel, Courtney Simmons Elwood, called John A. Eisenberg, a deputy White House counsel and her counterpart at the National Security Council, according to 3 people familiar with the matter. He was already aware of vague concerns about the call. Ms. Elwood, Mr. Eisenberg, and their deputies spoke multiple times the following week. They decided that the accusations had a reasonable basis. So Mr. Eisenberg now is in receipt of a fire alarm pulled at the CIA by the CIA General Counsel when she first became aware of this whistleblower's consternation. It's my understanding that he wasn't able to file his complaint at the CIA, had to go to the DNI. He also was aware of at least 1 call, maybe 2, from Alexander Vindman. What are folks close to Mr. Eisenberg saying about his knowledge, and what did he do with all these red flags?
Well, part of what he did was put this transcript someplace different from where it was supposed to be, where it wasn't as accessible as it should have been, knowing that this transcript was a problematic document for the president. This, again, is sort of like a test another example of how Donald Trump has been an amazing civics lesson for learning where do you do when you have a complaint and you need to report it to your superior. How far does it go? This is another reason why. What are the different options for someone who is struck internally by behavior that they believe is wrong? The whistleblower took one approach, reporting it to the White House counsel's office is another approach. Talking to journalists or writing anonymous op-eds is another approach. Yeah. People have taken different approaches when they are concerned with behavior that they witness inside of this administration. This is also a question of more and more pressure of. We need to hear from John Bolton, who was kind of where the buck stops and was privy to a lot of these conversations, direct contact with the president on these matters, and that's still a big question. Will John Bolton testify or not?
David Jolly, there are these two hot spinning plates today that seem to be a devastating witness for the president, and someone with, as Andy Carney's alluding to, no motive, nothing in his DNA that would incentivize telling a lie. Also, nothing in his DNA that would motivate or inspire him to make waves. I mean, military officials have reverence for the chain of command, so that he raised concerns at all is different from a civilian raising concerns and simply complaining to a chief of staff. Can you just expand on some of the substantive testimony that he gave today, as well as the symbolic impact of his presence up on Capitol Hill as an impeachment witness?
The symbolic impact is you have somebody who is honoring his duty to the country ahead of any political duty, which is different than most of the characters we have seen thus far. Sondland, even Bill Taylor and others, those who may be career, but they are not active duty service members. Taylor, formerly a West Point person who did serve. What you had today in Lieutenant Colonel Vindman was somebody essentially going around the chain of command. He ultimately reports to the commander-in-chief, but today he decided that he was willing to speak to the United States Congress, even if it would shine a dark light on the commander-in-chief. His role in the sequence of the impeachment process and making the case analytically to the Congress and the American people is this. It's elemental. Donald Trump confessed to essentially an impeachable act. Donald Trump confessed to asking Ukraine to investigate Biden. Mick Mulvaney.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This David Jolly is a former representative. He's a Republican. He's a Republican, and he's being interviewed by Nicole Wallace, who was a Republican and worked in the Bush administration. So this isn't a socialist communist conspiracy. If anything, it's a conspiracy of two Republicans or ex-Republicans.
Rated it. When he said we do it all the time, get over it. Bill Taylor last week confirmed it in his testimony, and Colonel Vindman explained it today. And the dispositive statement that Vindman left, and Garrett referred to this earlier, is he said, my concern is that it would undermine the national security of the United States. That is the frame that the colonel has provided around all of the confessions and corroborations and confirmation. And it is why I have said this before, I believe it with certainty, Donald Trump will become the third president impeached by the House of Representatives, the fourth if you include Nixon. And the longer this goes on, though the likelihood is still small, I think the likelihood grows that he could be facing expulsion through a conviction in the United States Senate.
You agree about the strength of the case?
Wow. Okay, so I'm tempted to let that run, but I think I'll replay that clip, but that section with Jolly, Representative Jolly. But yeah, so this is making America great again. This will be. We had a tainted election where the Russians interfered. The Russians did all kinds of interference in this election. They interfered on Facebook. They interfered in Twitter. They hacked the DNC. They stole documents and information. They had they went into personal emails. They went into one of the DNC people's emails, got personal emails. I can't remember his name. Oh God. Well, Okay, but they got personal emails. They hacked into personal emails and released them to WikiLeaks, and then WikiLeaks released all these documents and emails over months. They would dump documents mostly from the DNC, but some from personal accounts. So that the election was tampered with by the Russians on Facebook, on Twitter, with trolls and bots and fake groups. They actually put fake news stories up on Facebook and I think on Twitter as well, and they were on Instagram. So Donald Trump lost the popular vote. He asked for help from the Russians. He said, if you've got the Hillary Clinton's emails, I hope you've got the Clinton emails, and I hope you release them or something. Russia, as is his statement. He said that during the campaign. So we have a tainted election that was swung by the Russians. The Russians clearly wanted Trump. They did not want Clinton. Clinton would have been much harder, way harder on them. She would have kept sanctions on Russia. So we have a tainted election where Donald Trump loses the popular vote. Okay, that doesn't happen very often. That you lose the popular vote, the candidate loses the popular vote and wins the Electoral College. It's very rare. So he lost the popular vote, but he, by the narrowest of margins, wins the 3 states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, and then so he wins the Electoral College. It's a freak election. Let me put it that way. It's a freak election. And it's a tampered election. It's a tainted election. So I don't know why would you ever think that Trump would be a popular president if he is, I don't know, if he makes no olive branch to the opposition. Donald Trump doesn't know what an olive branch is. He doesn't know what that is. It's not in his, mental or vocabulary or whatever. It's just not in there. Okay, so I'm going to play that again.
Where the buck stops, and was privy to a lot of these conversations, direct contact with the president on these matters, and that's still a big question. Will John Bolton testify or not?
David Jolly, there are these 2 hot spinning plates today that seem to be a devastating witness for the president, and someone with, as Andy Carney's alluding to, no motive, nothing in his DNA that would incentivize telling a lie. Also, nothing in his DNA that would motivate or inspire him to make waves. I mean, military officials have reverence for the chain of command, so that he raised concerns at all is different from a civilian raising concerns and simply complaining to a chief of staff. Can you just expand on some of the substantive testimony that he gave today, as well as the symbolic impact of his presence up on Capitol Hill as an impeachment witness?
The symbolic impact is you have somebody who is honoring his duty to country ahead of any political duty, which is different than most of the characters we have seen thus far. Sondland, even Bill Taylor and others, those who may be career, but they are not active duty service members. Taylor, formerly a West Point person who did serve. What you had today in Lieutenant Colonel Vindman was somebody essentially going around the chain of command. He ultimately reports to the commander-in-chief, but today he decided that he was willing to speak to the United States Congress, even if it would shine a dark light on the commander-in-chief. His role in the sequence of the impeachment process and making the case analytically to the Congress and the American people is this. It's elemental. Donald Trump confessed to essentially an impeachable act. Donald Trump confessed to asking Ukraine to investigate Biden. Mick Mulvaney corroborated it when he said, "We do it all the time, get over it." Bill Taylor last week confirmed it in his testimony, and Colonel Vindman explained it today. And the dispositive statement that Vindman left, and Garrett referred to this earlier, is he said, "My concern is that it would undermine the national security of the United States." That is the frame that the Colonel has provided around all of the confessions and corroborations and confirmation. And it is why I have said this before, I believe it with certainty, Donald Trump will become the 3rd president impeached by the House of Representatives, the 4th if you include Nixon. And the longer this goes on, though the likelihood is still small, I think the likelihood grows that he could be facing expulsion through a conviction in the United States Senate.
Do you agree about the strength of the case?
Wow.
I do.
Oh, okay, well, we've got another edition of the Hubel Report Trump impeachment. I wasn't quite sure that impeachment would happen. I knew it should happen. And we had the impeachment vote yesterday along party lines almost. A couple of Democrats. Oh, Amash voted yes. Our congressman from Battle Creek, yeah, he voted yes for the impeachment. All the Republicans voted, all the other Republicans voted no, and 2 Democrats voted no, I guess. Okay, let me stop there. Yeah, so impeachment is underway in the House of Representatives, and it depends on, I guess, how many articles they want to charge Trump with. And can I have to do, yes, I got to do a rant. I want to thank the people of Michigan for electing a con man. Yeah, you can turn this off now. Yeah, I'm going to go into my my thank yous. A failed businessman, failed casino operator, bankrupt 4 times, 3 marriages, dodges drafts. Okay, and let's say, everyone say it together one more time. If you go bankrupt 4 times, like Donald Trump went bankrupt 4 times, your credit sucks. It's zilch. You are cut off. You are no longer cut off by most reputable American banks. Okay? Anybody with that horrible track record of going, and we're not talking about small bankruptcy. We're talking about into the billion, maybe 1 billion. You are cut off. You are a huge credit risk. You're radioactive. So, and this goes out to you, Tim Collins and WBCK rank. I don't know how many times you guys have gone bankrupt, but if you go bankrupt 4 times, like Donald, you ain't gonna get no loan. Your credit history is done. It's gone. And then you have to get you can't get you can't clear a background check. You could not clear if you had 4 bankruptcies and had real trouble, money problems and trouble handling money like Donald. You wouldn't pass a background check for the FBI, a security background check. So my guess is Donald cannot pass a security clearance. Hey, thank you again, WPC. Can I thank you, please, from the bottom of my heart? Thank you, and Rank, thank you, and Tim Collins, I thank you. I'm learning so much about bankruptcy and so much about casinos, about this guy, this phony orange-haired guy with phony hair, phony skin, phony marriage. So whatever, I'm going into phony stuff. But I want to thank you. I listen to your crap every day. Not every day, but many days. I listen to your 3-hour crap. That's you, Rank. Sorry. And you tell me how good Donald is. Oh, hold on. I've got to do some editing here. Just a second. Okay, so we're talking about the bankruptcies, the 4 bankruptcies with the casinos. And I know you're not going to talk about this, Rank. Tim, you won't chat about it in the early morning program. But the 4 bankruptcies in the casinos are all kaput. Kaput. You know where that word comes from? Kaput? I don't know. I'll look that up. Where does kaput come from? They're gonzo. Trump ran them into the ground. I'm sorry. I have to laugh. I have to laugh at something so idiotic. So we elected a guy who could not run a casino at a profit. Okay. So, and then there's numerous other business failures, and I can do another clip and I can repeat the same thing. I'm just, for the Fox News people, this is all shockingly, they're unfamiliar with this. So maybe I should put 4 bankruptcies. That's what I'll do. I have to do a graphic. 4 bankruptcies. I have to overlay this. Now, if you can't get money from American banks, okay, because you're radioactive and your credit is like, I don't know, minus 10,000 or minus, I don't know what credit rating, how low it goes. If you go into the minus, okay, you have to get money from shady, sketchy sources. And where is the shadiest, sketchiest source? Well, one is, I guess, crime, drug money, crime money. The other is Russian cash, because Russians are money laundering like crazy. They're getting what they do is the Russian oligarchs steal their money from the Russian people, and then to the tune of billions, right? These are billionaires that are doing this. And they're Putin's friends, and they money launder the cash they get the cash out of Russia, and they put it in assets, American assets, which would be real estate, which would be condos, would be Trump Tower condos, which would be Trump golf courses. So that's the history of money laundering. Now here, the clip these are quotes. So for you people that say this is a wild goose, it's a witch hunt, it's a hoax witch hunt, right, Tim Collins, right, Rank? Okay, so the quote is the top, well, let's go to the top quote, the lie. This is Donald Trump lying again, always, practically. I have nothing to do with Russia. No deals, no loans, no nothing. Now that's totally false, because the beauty pageant was in Russia in 2013. The beauty pageant that he ran, 2013. I don't know, it was Ms. World, or I don't know what but Trump was running this beauty pageant because he likes to grab things. You know, Tim, Rank, he likes to grab things. So, and a beauty pageant is a perfect way of getting to grab things, if you catch my drift. So he was in Moscow. The beauty pageant was in Moscow, and he was working with Russian, what do you call it, a Russian pop star and a Russian real estate guy. And he said, "Who?" And Trump said, "I hope I meet Vladimir Putin. Maybe he'll be my new best friend," or something like that. He wanted to build the Trump Tower. They'd been scouting out. He wanted to build the Trump Tower in Moscow. So this idea that he had nothing to do with Russians is just total baloney, complete 100% total baloney. He's been selling condos to Russians since the 1980s, and he visited Russia in 1987. In Soviet Union, it was Soviet Union back then. So he has a long 30, 35, 40-year history of dealing with Russians and going to Russia. Now, the other two quotes are from Eric Trump, the sons, Eric Trump and Donald Trump. Hold on, I got to take a break here. And I'll be back after I do some quick editing. Okay, back to Eric Trump and his quote on Russia, where the Trump organization gets its financing. Because, once again, they cannot get money from American banks. Okay? Trump cannot. Trump organization can't. They have a horrible credit history. So Eric says, Russians make up a pretty disproportionate cross-section of a lot of our assets. We see a lot of money pouring in from Russia. God, okay. It's embarrassing to have to say this a zillion times, and it's so obvious. But people who watch Fox News and people who listen to WBCK are totally clueless on these things. And yeah, you email me and tell me I'm wrong. You tell me I'm wrong. Please, Rank, email me. Yeah. Tim Collins, you email me. I'll put the email up here too. I gotta remember to do that. I forget to do that. And then that was Eric. And then Donald at the bottom says, well, we don't rely on American banks. No, because you can't get any, well, this is me. You can't get any money from American banks. They won't loan you any money. So Don says, well, we don't rely on American banks. We have all the funding we need out of Russia. Is that incriminating or what? It's horribly incriminating. So we're beholden. Russia first. America, I don't know. We'll forget about America. We've got to take care of Russia first. Okay, so I think I've exhausted that clip. Now, on to the feature presentation. What's his name? Lev Parnas. In prison. No, he's not in prison. He's out on bail. He's got a tether. Okay, that's section 2. Sorry about that. That was a bit of a rant there. I'll try to keep that under control. Okay, this is a photo op staged, or what do you call it? What do you call it? Not staged, but a formal photograph of our president, Trump. I have to say, Trump is his real German name, Trump. And okay, right to Donald's right, and can I just say right here, this is not an accident. That the guy on the left to Donald's right, the guy on the left is Lev Parnas. It's not an accident that he somehow is popping up to the right of the president. No, that's a pecking order. Okay, that's a kind of a pecking order. Who's really important photograph. So if you're really, really important, like Lev, that's Lev Parnas on the left, the guy with the short hair, and he's kind of fat, and yeah, he's got a round face and a big kind of big belly, round big belly. You'll see it later. So it's no accident that Parnas is right next to Trump. Now, of course, when Donald is asked about this, he says, I don't know who Lev is. I don't know. I've only been in like 10 pictures with Lev. I don't know. I don't know. I've never seen him before. I've never seen 4 in my life. Yeah, right. So here he is. This is a staged, or what do you call it, set up photo op, where they're all in formal dress. I think this is maybe in the White House. It's either in the White House or maybe it's in Mar-a-Lago, but I think it's in the White House. So you see, who are the big shots? Just by their placement next to Trump. Okay, Rudy is there on the right. That's Rudy Giuliani, the personal lawyer. By the way, he's under investigation. He's under investigation by the FBI. None of this ever happened under Obama, I have to say. As much as you hate Obama, I'm talking to the Trump people out there. Much you hated Obama, we didn't have a friend, lawyer under investigation by the FBI, I don't think. No. So Rudy is under investigation. Lev Parnas, to the left, is been arrested and has been indicted. Thank you, Tim. Listen, Tim, I have to thank you. Thank you for this. This gives me a wonderful opportunity to learn how to use the editing equipment. So, okay. So we got Lev Parnas, who Trump claims not to know. I don't know who he is. I take a lot of photographs with this funny-looking dude. I don't know. No, you know exactly who he is. He's funneling money. By the way, yes, Lev Parnas is funneling laundered money to Republican campaigns. And I wonder, there is some campaign. Lev Parnas was in Michigan. And I have another picture of that, too. If I can get that up, find it. John James, whoever the guy is running for Senate, he was at a Lev Parnas and Rudy Giuliani were at a John James event in Holland, Michigan. Now, whether they got the laundered money from Russia, John James' campaign got laundered money, I don't know. Who knows? The FBI may know. Maybe the FBI knows. So let's go back to the placement of these people in the photograph. This, as I say, this is no accident. It's no accident that Rudy is on Trump's left and Parnas is on Trump's right. That's no accident. That's where Trump wants them, and that's where they are in the pecking order. And then the minor people are on the periphery of this group photo. So this younger guy on the right, I think that's Lev's son. Yeah, that's Lev's son. And then Pence. Trump never liked really Pence, so Pence is way off, almost out of the picture, way off. So I'm guessing that this was staged carefully, because it's the only thing that Donald is careful at is his photo ops. It's one of the only things he's careful at, and very precise. So he's in the center of the picture, and then as you go out, the two guys on the end, they're losers. I'm sorry, I'm using Trump language here. I'm sorry, I slip into Trump speak occasionally. Sorry about that. So the two guys on one guy on the far left, that's Pence, and the one guy on the far right, I don't know, some son of some guy, I don't know. Those guys are losers. Third-rate losers. Okay, well, so I tried my dumb Trump voice there. So you know, I'm noticing the Trump's little games more and more. Yeah, this was a setup. This was to diss Pence. You want to diss Pence and kind of humiliate him. So he's way off. He was almost out of the picture. And this guy on the right, some kid. Who cares about that? Doesn't got money. I don't care. He doesn't know what time it is. I'll put him way off to the right. Okay. So, and we got to be next to Rudy. Rudy's my buddy, my main man, Rudy, for today anyway. So, so impeachment is starting. Yep, impeachment is starting, Donald. So you can wipe the smile off your face and start worrying, start paying the lawyers. And I think this is in the White House. So I've almost exhausted saying this. So now we get to the next fraudulent, horrible thing about Trump and Lev Parnas. Remember that name, Lev Parnas. This is going to be the Lev Parnas episode edition of the Hubel Report. So, okay, let me take a break here, and I will be right back in a jiffy. Jiffy. Okay, I'm back. Ha! This is a photograph of a letter that Lev Parnas, the arrested guy. By the way, Lev Parnas is not American. I think he's Ukrainian. He's either Ukrainian or Russian. Sorry, I didn't Google it. I'm sorry. I'm lazy today. There's so much corruption, it's hard to follow it all. It's hard to keep track of it all. I know that they were not born in the United States. I think they are U.S. citizens, but Lev Parnas was not born in the United States. So this is a photograph of a thank you card from Donald, and there's a little hint here. There's a little how do you say it, fraud going on, I think, in this, and you could look at this picture closely and see if you can find out what's kind of suspicious about it. And I'll tell you at the end. It's kind of like Where's Waldo? So it says, this is a picture of Donald kissing Melania. God, is this during the campaign? And Melania is in short hair? I've never seen her with that short of hair. Yeah. Oh, that's Air Force One. Okay. Oh boy, wait, hold on. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. This photograph is taken by Lev Parnas, who's indicted and is wearing an electronic bracelet and has lost his passport under indictment. Yes, for what is it? Money laundering and campaign finance violations. Now that picture. Okay. This picture was taken, I think, around 2018, during the 2018 campaign. Or this is a letter sent about the 2018 campaign. And that picture is after, this is Air Force One. I don't know where it was taken. Maybe it was in Florida. Who knows? Yeah, that's definitely Air Force One. And yeah, at this point, Trump is president. And so I can read the thing. It says, to Lev Parnas, this is Trump writing with a thank you note or whatever. To Lev Parnas, thank you for your friendship and dedication to our cause. Leaders like you in Florida are the key to fulfilling our bold agenda to make America great again. Yeah, well, he's Ukrainian, so he doesn't care. He doesn't care that much about America, I don't think. He cares more about money, right? Money is the thing. So now, let me stop here. And so that's the note. Now, yeah, remember, Donald says he doesn't remember this guy. I don't know who he is. But it's pretty specific here. It says he knows that the guy lives in Florida. It says leaders like you in Florida. Okay, so they were working out of Florida. So Donald, I think, knows exactly who this guy is. Yeah, and the money is the deal. Okay. 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 Now this is just a cropped section of that larger photograph at the bottom. And do you notice something funny about the signatures? I do. Sorry. I noticed something funny about these signatures. Okay, so they congratulate. It's like a thank you friendship letter to Lev Parnas, who's under indictment. Of course, all the criminals are all around Trump, right? This never happened under Obama, right, Tim? Right? No, this didn't happen under Obama, not that I can recall. So the signatures are funny, and let me go to the next clip. Okay, here's a close-up of the signatures at the bottom of the letter to Lev Parnas, who's under indictment. Those don't look like two different people signed it. The one is supposed to be is supposed to be Donald Trump on the left. The other signature is supposed to be Melania Trump. So what Donald did is he took a Sharpie. I'm speculating. This is all speculation now. We're in speculation mode. I think he was so late. He's lazy. Melania doesn't bother with this stuff. I don't know. I can tell you what Melania might be doing, but it's all right. It's just a family show, right? So Melania's not around. And so to make believe that Melania actually cares for this guy, or whatever, Donald forges her signature. Yeah, it looks like he took the same Sharpie. He signed his name. This is all speculation on my part. I don't have any sources to back this up. And then he signs her name in the same kind of up and downy Trump. You know, it's almost like an oscillating line, and that's not. I'll bet that's not Melania's signature. Actually, I could easily do research and say Google Melania Trump signature or whatever, and find out if that's anywhere. No, I doubt it. Anywhere near how she writes. What's the chances that she writes just like Donald, and she uses the same pen as Donald? Okay, well, that's my sleuthing. Donald has to lie, cheat, fraud about everything, even thank you notes. God. Okay, that's my rant for that second.
Now let me take a wild guess here. You're Brett, right?
Correct.
I thought so.
I got into Yale Law School.
Check out the big brain on Brett.
It's the #1 law school in the country.
You're smart. That's right.
I have no connections there. I got there by busting my tail.
Looks like me and Vincent caught you boys at breakfast. Sorry about that. Did you have it?
Beer. I still like beer.
You mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down?
Sometimes I have too many beers. I do not drink beer to the point of blacking out. and I never sexually assaulted
Yes, you
anyone.
did. Yes, you did, Brett.
Is warm, friendly, unassuming. He's the nicest person.
I don't remember asking you a thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
The letter also says that you would not commit to being fair to litigants before you, notably members of the LGBTQ community. Can you speak to that? Did you say that you wouldn't be fair to members of the LGBT community?
Senator, that was the part of the letter. I did not say that. I apologize.
It's all right.
I'm sorry. No, I did not say that. I do not believe that. It is a fundamental belief of mine that all people are created in the image of God, and they should all be treated with dignity and respect. Senator,
can you commit today to this committee that you will treat, if confirmed, that you would treat every litigant who came before you with respect and with dignity?
Absolutely, Senator. I would not have allowed myself to be nominated for this position if I did not think I could do that.
Including members of the LGBT community and any other community that has been historically disadvantaged in this country.
Absolutely, Senator.
And our next guest argues that Nancy Pelosi is giving the GOP exactly what they wanted.
Well, here to explain, Fox News senior judicial analyst, host of Liberty File on Fox Nation, Judge Andrew Napolitano. So you mean exactly what they wanted, which is?
I wouldn't say exactly what they want, but the Republicans are looking for more transparency so that the better cross-examiners among them can challenge the credibility and the essence of the testimony of the witnesses. Right now, all that's going on in secret. So let's compare it to the Bill Clinton investigation. Ken Starr, whom we all know, who was the independent counsel at the time, handed a tremendous amount of evidence to the House Judiciary Committee. How did he generate that evidence? In secret. What did he do? He put witnesses on before a grand jury, and the grand jury made all kinds of findings, and they took that.
So Adam Schiff is getting that stuff together.
Correct. But nothing was used against Bill Clinton that came from Ken Starr that wasn't at some point filtered through the public so that the president's lawyers can challenge it. That's what this procedure permits.
That makes sense.
Congressman Schiff is, in my opinion, following the rules of the House of Representatives. You generate the information in secret. You decide which you want to make public. You can't use anything against the president that has not been challenged and aired in public.
Right. So that he can defend himself.
Correct, so that his lawyers, whoever they're going to be, ultimately will be seated at a table at the House Judiciary Committee challenging that evidence. When that challenge is over, the House Judiciary Committee votes and then the House of Representatives votes.
And the Republicans have asked for a vote, so they're getting this vote about the procedure of the inquiry going forward. But they also want it to be fair. And there's nothing fair about this. Congress has got some screwy rules.
Congress does. The rules were written in 2015 when Republicans controlled Congress, and now they're stuck with those rules. Yes, it has come back to haunt the Republicans. So one of the more interesting phrases that I heard the other day is, an impeachable offense is whatever the House says it is.
Right.
Because at that point, it's political.
It's all political.
So this is what Republicans are saying. Number one, I'd like to subpoena a few witnesses that might balance out the one we just heard. The Democrats will go, don't think so.
Well, as unfair as that sounds, the rules permit that. So Congressman Schiff is not making up the rules; he's following the rules.
But do you understand, Judge, who has built your whole career is built on fairness?
Yes,
you're trying to give the American people a shot at fairness.
Yes, I agree with you, Brian. And here's where this could come back to bite those who don't want the Republicans to introduce witnesses at the polls. If the whole perception of this thing is railroading and not fair, the people who did the railroading will suffer at the polls. I thought the Clinton, which all of us covered, if you may remember, I thought the Clinton impeachment was fair, but a lot of the Republicans who managed it suffered at the polls.
It all goes back to that conversation, that phone conversation, which we've all read the transcript of it. The president
well, now
was
we're getting a lot of
that.
context about what preceded and what followed the phone conversation.
What could be devastating, as Tom Bevan brought up yesterday, is if people challenge the transcript. And that's what that lieutenant colonel was doing.
Yes.
So that would be problematic.
That, to me, is very, very troublesome for the White House. If there are parts of that transcript they intentionally kept out, which the lieutenant colonel seems to indicate there are.
All right,
Oops,
so they're going to have a vote today.
He said he remembers the president.
Today's going to be the end of it?
Guys, thank you very much.
Pleasure, guys.
Where the buck stops, and was privy to a lot of these conversations, direct contact with the president on these matters, and that's still a big question. Will John Bolton testify or not?
You know, David Jolly, there are these two hot spinning plates today that seem to be a devastating witness for the president, and someone with, as Andy Carney's alluding to, no motive, nothing in his DNA that would incentivize telling a lie. Also, nothing in his DNA that would motivate or inspire him to make waves. I mean, military officials have reverence for the chain of command, so that he raised concerns at all is different from a civilian raising concerns and simply complaining to a chief of staff. Can you just expand on some of the substantive testimony that he gave today, as well as the symbolic impact of his presence up on Capitol Hill as an impeachment witness?
The symbolic impact is you have somebody who is honoring his duty to country ahead of any political duty, which is different than most of the characters we have seen thus far. Sondland, even Bill Taylor and others, those who may be career, but they are not active duty service members. Taylor, formerly a West Point person who did serve. What you had today in Lieutenant Colonel Vindman was somebody essentially going around the chain of command. He ultimately reports to the commander-in-chief, but today he decided that he was willing to speak to the United States Congress, even if it would shine a dark light on the commander-in-chief. His role in the sequence of the impeachment process and making the case analytically to the Congress and the American people is this. It's elemental. Donald Trump confessed to essentially an impeachable act. Donald Trump confessed to asking Ukraine to investigate Biden. Mick Mulvaney corroborated it. When he said, we do it all the time, get over it. Bill Taylor last week confirmed it in his testimony, and Colonel Vindman explained it today. And the dispositive statement that Vindman left, and Garrett referred to this earlier, is he said, my concern is that it would undermine the national security of the United States. That is the frame that the Colonel has provided around all of the confessions and corroborations and confirmation. And it is why I have said this before, I believe it with certainty, Donald Trump will become the third president impeached by the House of Representatives, the fourth if you include Nixon. And the longer this goes on, though the likelihood is still small, I think the likelihood grows that he could be facing expulsion through a conviction in the United States Senate.
You agree about the strength of the case?
Wow.
I do.
Your voice, your community.